Welcome to the Halawa Fantasy Football League Championship Edition. So, we come to the end of a long season, and we are in our final episode. Maybe we'll do another one after. I don't know. Anyways, today's drink is very appropriately called a Painkiller. So this drink goes out to everybody not named Brad who felt the pain of losing this year. Oh, it's so good. It's like a pina colada, but a lot stronger. Hence, Painkiller. It uses a stronger rum. I use the Navy Strength rum. It uses coconut, cream of coconut, orange juice, pineapple juice, garnished with some nutmeg on top, and then some other stuff like fruits and cherries. Make it a little bit more tropical. You increase the strength of the Painkiller by how much alcohol is in there. This is at a level 2 strength. So I think 2 ounces is level 1, 3 ounces is level 2, and 4 ounces is level 3. So this is at level 3. Really good. Anyways, let's get to the end of our recap. The end of our season and our recap of the final game. Alright, so as you can see, congratulations, Fantasy Champion, first place. Hurts to lose, Manager Bradley. So we can just go to the main event, the main recap. Oh, this is interesting. We never actually look at these recaps. But you can see Eric actually took the lead for a little bit. And then in the end, Brad took over. But as far as the actual score goes, Brad put up a very dominant 174.96 to Eric's 136.22. For looking at what happened, Eric had no chance based on how strong a lot of Brad's players were. Eric had actually pretty good showings from his running backs. So Montgomery got him 22.3. Maybe not so much Jones, but Singletary did good, 25.3. And then kind of messed up with his receivers, which kind of took him out of the game early. Waddle only had 6.8, and Tyreek Hill, who's like, I don't know, he may be like the third or second best receiver this year, only had 7.3, so that's a letdown from one of his main guys. Noah Fant really did good for him, 18.2. Bass only had 3, Seattle had 13 points, and Kyler Murray had a pedestrian 26.42, which is kind of on par with what they were expecting of him. His bench, he could have gotten a little bit of help from Mooney, starting Mooney in place of maybe Waddle, but not much else after that. That would have got him a little bit closer, but there was no way he was touching Brad. Brad had strong gains from Devontae Adams, 25.10 points. Najee Harris ended up with 30.9, especially with a big run at the end. Really savvy move picking up Williams because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was out and giving him 25.6. That kind of sealed it. Pitts kind of did pretty par for what the tight ends do, but he did good as a rookie tight end, so he's going to be he's going to be a top 3 tight end next year. Deontay Johnson, 13.10, which is a pretty solid receiver for him. Good in the flex spot. 9.6 from Suckup, and then a strong defense with 31 points. He had another strong defensive performance from Tennessee, who had 25, and Dallas had 7. Wilson didn't do anything, and Patterson had 19.5. That was actually a pretty good pickup. But really, he played the better guys, so he couldn't have played it any better. He played it perfectly at the very end. His guys were mostly healthy. He picked the guys who were able to stay healthy. He made pretty savvy moves like picking up Williams at the very end just to secure it. And even guys like just finding the diamonds in the rough. Like, I was thinking of how he managed to get Deontay Johnson. Like, you don't know who the top receiver is going to be for Pittsburgh is going to be, right? Because you think maybe it's going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. You think maybe Claypool's going to make a big step next year. It turned out to be Johnson, and so he became a solid receiver for him. Also picking up Deebo Samuel, who was also a solid receiver this year. Getting guys that were big surprises and getting mainstays like Devontae Adams. Even though his name is Hurts to lose, Hurts was a pretty okay quarterback. It didn't hurt him, but it shows that even though the quarterbacks tend to give most of the points, he didn't necessarily have to rely on him by making really savvy moves. And then the strategy of stacking defenses was a double-edged sword. Not in a bad way, but totally for him, in that he was able to take his pick of guys who were really, or defenses that were really strong, and also taking them out of free agency and waivers so that other teams couldn't touch them. So the strategy worked out for Brad, paid off. Congrats to Brad. You are the champion for our 2021-2022 season. So congrats to Brad. Good job. Bravo. Let's see if you can three-peat and join a very exclusive club of 3-time winners. But I don't know if anybody else was back-to-back, but good job. Look forward to next year. All right, let's just briefly look at some of the other scores. The other one for third place, James pretty much dominated me. Brady did good. Not so good with the receivers, only 7.5 and 7.7. And Ezekiel Elliott only had 4.4. But Harris had a pretty strong game, 18.8. Even Ertz was kind of pedestrian. He had strong games from Hunter Renfrow, who had 19. And out of this world, 20.4 points for his kicker, Myers. And a strong Buffalo D with 19. And then he could have played the Chargers, who had 29 points. But the rest of the bench was kind of had lower scores. I mean, he could have played... No, he couldn't. Yeah, the only move that would make him a little bit better would have been the Chargers, but he was solid. And then for me, I kind of like fizzled down the end. It was just not good just from the very beginning of the games. Like some of the guys that I would rely on just didn't show out for me. They were like workhorses for me. Like DeAndre Swift had only 5.3. Henderson, who I relied on, I had to drop because he went on IR. CeeDee Lamb only had 7.2. Cooper Kupp, who is wide receiver 1 this year, had a kind of a 18.5. Not that much, but kind of blah. And then Cincinnati D only ended up with 1 point. That's pretty sad. And Matt Gay only had 2 points, even though he was one of the better kickers this year. Could I have done better? Not much. In fact, no. The bench didn't help me at all. In fact, if you look at my bench, I just wanted to have, like, on paper, the best fantasy team ever. So I have Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback. Cooper Kupp is my receiver. CeeDee Lamb is my other wide receiver. And then my big backs are DeAndre Swift, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. Chris Godwin is my other receiver. Have Travis Kelce. Could you imagine if this team was extremely healthy? This team would be such a cheat team. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I don't know. Maybe we'll have keepers next year. Nah, I'm just kidding. So yeah. So congrats to James, who got his highest finish in all of his time here with the Halawa Fantasy League, winning 3rd place. I finished in 4th place. And then to round it out, I think we have in 5th place, we have Darrin over 6th place Mike. And then Gary is 7th place. Does that make sense? Wait, let me say this. We'll just look at it later. We'll figure it out later. Let's just do the recap first. Darrin got his best score of the season ever, 175.48. Mike didn't do so bad, but Darrin, you know, it shows you how the waivers are working. Right, they can pick up guys and then they'll just take off. Taysom Hill, that was a pretty good move considering he had to like drop. Who did you drop? Cam Newton? I forget. Amon-Ra St. Brown, like I said, one of the top rookie receivers, had 31.6. Keenan Allen, 12.4, which is pretty solid for one of the lower end guys for his. Kamara had 19.8, which is strong. Rashad Penny, 34 points. Gronkowski, 15 points. Burkhead, 12.5. And a Rams defense had 22. Butker had 7.9. And then on his bench, picking up Ogun Boale. That's a smart pick. You picked the right Jaguar running back. 14.7. It seems like he's going to be the strong one going forward since Robinson got hurt and was out. Christian Kirk had 10.7. So pretty good scores overall. For Mike, he had to rely on Carson Wentz because Jackson, his workhorse quarterback, was injured down the stretch. Stephon Diggs only had 7.7. Gallup had 11.1 and he got hurt. He got injured. I think he tore his ACL. Tough break. Mitchell had a strong game, 22.1. Really savvy pickup, picking up Scott and him getting 24 points for him. And Andrews continues to be tight end number 1 with 11.9. And Antonio Brown, 14.1, came in, did a little bit of work, and then he was like, bye, I'm out of here. Boswell had another incredible kicker score of 19 points and then a strong defense, 23 by San Fran. Nothing else on his bench, but yeah, I mean, he was another team that if you looked at who he had on paper, if they were healthier, he would be a lot more of a contender, which was kind of the story for a lot of other people. And then the final game was Gary versus Jeremy. Gary takes the win with a 158.32 to 110.80. Strong game from Aaron Rodgers. That was the sneaky pickup after Darrin dropped him. Oh, look at this. Jamar Chase. He is wide receiver 1 for the rookies. 50.1 points. Is that the highest score? Did what's his name score? Did Henry or Jonathan Taylor score higher than that? I do not know, but that is an incredibly high score. 50.1. In fact, without Jamar Chase, now that I look at it, his scores suck. Gary, your scores suck. But it was enough to win. Without Jamar Chase, then you're not winning. Yeah, that's incredible. Nothing. I don't need to talk about the rest of your team. 50.1. Yeah, so Chase is going to be one of the big upper echelon receivers next year as well, along with Waddle and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They were like the better. What? It was weird. Wide receiver rookies were better this year than running back rookies. Yeah, usually it's the other way around. This is like the first time it's been different. As far as Jeremy, you did your best. 26.94 from Dak Prescott, which is pretty good. Even though they lost, Dallas lost. Justin Jefferson kind of did pretty crappy for what you expected of him, 8.8. Mecole Hardman, 6.96. Not so good. And then he played Robinson. I guess maybe you... Did you have a running back? You could have played Chase Edmonds. I know he was out. Like, he was on IR. So I guess you quit before the last game. That's okay. You got the last of the last, not last place, but last of whoever was playing. Boyd had 11.6. Carlson, another strong kicker game, 15.9. And Kansas City D only 8 points. Joe Burrow would have been a better quarterback, 38.34 points, but still not enough to catch Darrin. And so those were all the final games. The last two, I think Aaron and Ritchie did not play. I think it finishes with Ritchie in the 11th spot and then Aaron with the final spot. Yeah, so that's our recap. As far as our final standings, this is our final standings. Brad is first. He's the only he gets the gold trophy. Eric is second with the silver. James with the bronze. And then if you look at the records, it kind of almost fits perfectly. The people who won were supposed to win, basically. There is no real upsets. And then rounding it out, 5th place is Mike. You are 5th place. Actually, I'm the first consolation. You're the second consolation. Morgan with 7 and 7 in 6th place. So this is the playoff bracket finals. And then topping out the consolation is Gary, followed by Jeremy, then Darrin, Mike, Ritchie, and then Aaron. So it was a good year. It was a fun year. I got a lot of feedback from you guys saying that you guys had fun this year. So we're gonna keep it going next year. It seems like everyone likes Yahoo. I liked Yahoo a lot better than ESPN. Definitely changing some things. What are we changing? I will put this up to vote. Just because if you enjoyed playing this, then maybe you would have liked to play one more game or had a chance to make the playoffs by having another extra game. So I know we shortened the season by 1 game, but there's 18 weeks now. Do you want to play the full 18 weeks and have 17, pretty much 18 games? So it'll be like 16 games regular season. Actually, no, 15 games regular season and then a 3-week playoff. Would you want to do that? Again, the reason why we cut it short was because at the very end of the season, there's a lot of guys who are going to just be sitting guys just because to preserve them for the playoffs. But again, if we do that, that takes some skill to win a championship that way. I know it's a little bit of a wild card, but that's an option. The other things that will change are definitely player points. So some of the things that I think I'm definitely going to change is the waiver system. So if you are first in the waiver, so once Aaron picks his guy, he goes to the bottom of the waivers. And then Ritchie is next up, and then it'll just cycle. We're definitely changing waivers next year. We're changing the point system. Defenses aren't going to be that strong this year. Next year. We're going to dial back down some of the stats. Like every stat has a point, right? A sack gets a stat. Tackle for loss gets a point. A sack is a point. Tackle for loss is a point. 3 and out is a point. Turnover on downs is a point. So you get all these extra points that make the defenses like really crazy. So we may keep those stats, but they're definitely going to be like maybe 0.1 or 0.5 depending on the difficulty. And then thinking of raising the floor of receiving category. So like, you know how a catch will get you a point? What if 0.5 points gets you a catch and then you get the whole, and then the other 0.5 goes to a target? So that way a bad throw doesn't hurt the receiver. You know what I mean? So if you look at the wide receiver like points this year, it'll be the same. It would be the same. It would be the same at the top end. It's just the bottom end of your score gets raised, right? So like if you don't get a catch, you get nothing at all. But if you at least were targeted, you get half of the point for the catch. So that's something that I'll probably add next year. And if you guys have any other ideas about what about things that you want to change or implement, then just let me know. As far as there's something else I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to look at the like who was the tops. So it looks like all players. Let's look at who are the top guys. Josh Allen. So Mike, you had the top quarterback for the year, followed by Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, then Mahomes, and then Mahomes. This is all offense. Let's just look at the quarterbacks. Then Joe Burrow. So those are your top 5 quarterbacks for the year. Let's look at the top wide receivers. Cooper Kupp was number 1. He kind of dominated. No one else came close, but Deebo Samuel was 2nd. Devontae Adams 3rd. Jamar Chase, the rookie again, was 4th. Justin Jefferson was 5th. So you get an idea of like who was strong receivers this year. And then we'll just look at the running. We'll look at the tight ends too, actually. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor took the top spots, mostly because Henry got hurt and was out. Henry was on his way to be the top guy again, but it's kind of like it always happens. Once you have like a huge season, there's no way you're going to duplicate it. He was on pace to duplicate it again, but maybe it was those mileage that got him hurt and not able to complete the season. The thing is, he's coming back. He's practicing, so he's going to come back for the playoffs. So Tennessee, man, they're going to be crazy in the playoffs. If you're looking at the running backs, Taylor was the top guy, Eckler was the second guy, so Morgan had that dual threat. Usually that's a recipe for a championship, but Morgan's shuffling of quarterbacks and then sometimes making the wrong moves hurt him. But if you can get those two guys again, maybe you have something. Aaron was able to get Joe Mixon, which was a nice balance to having Saquon Barkley, who wasn't that good. And then the top running back rookie was Najee Harris, which is kind of a gamble when you go with a rookie running back. Like last year, I went with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that didn't help me, to be honest. But in this case, it ended up helping Brad win a championship. And then actually we'll look at defenses too. We don't need to look at kicker. But for tight ends, this is just to show you, it was Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, and then the rest was kind of trash. There's something we can do, like maybe we can like flex the tight end position with a wide receiver, if that would help. Let me know if you want to try that. But this, or is this year just an anomaly as far as tight ends go? And then lastly, enjoy this while it lasts. Defense. Dallas with 319 points, helping once again Brad get that win. Buffalo strong. New Orleans 296. This is crazy. If you look at it in context of everything, actually you can't even mix it. The top defenses were 319 and 314, and if you look at all the offenses, it would have placed in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Top 13. So the defenses would have been like way up there. So anyways, that's kind of an overview. This is a good way to look at like what you have and see where they stand. Is look at them, all the players, and then rank them. Then you can see where your guys rank, and then that way maybe for someone like Darrin who got rid of Aaron Rodgers, you would have seen that he was actually a top guy. He was what is this, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. Yeah, he was at least a top 10 quarterback, and maybe you could have hung on to him, and that would have helped you get in the playoffs. And had you get into the playoffs and somehow got to the finals, you would have scored. You would have beat Brad with your score, 175.48 to 174.96. That would have been crazy. But again, congrats to Brad. Thanks here to everybody who made this league a lot of fun. And that's it.